Do you have lots of leftover bits of designer series paper lying around? Well, I sure do. Today I'm going to show you how to take these leftover bits and create a wow factor on your cards. I'm also going to be using the new Happiness Abounds bundle. Hey everyone, I'm Terri from nutsaboutsstamping.com. I love sharing techniques and project ideas for rubber stamping, paper crafting, and scrapbooking with you each week. Be sure to hit that red subscribe button and the bell beside it so that you'll be the first to be notified when my next video goes live. If you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator yet, I would love for you to choose me. I'll link to my online stores underneath this video. Now, let's get started on this great technique. The entire Hues of Happiness suite was on my annual catalog pre-order because I love how everything coordinates beautifully. You can have a close-up look at this suite on pages 108 and 109 in the annual catalog. There are 15 stamps in the stamp set. Here's a close-up of the stamp set. Love the font. And there are 11 dies in the coordinating die pack. And the colors of the designer series paper, oh my, the colors and patterns, they're so bright, and I'm having so much fun using this paper as layers on my cards. Now for today's sample and technique, I'm going to use this leftover piece, but I'm going to use this side to feature on my card. I'm going to start off by using one of the phrases in the Happiness Abounds stamp set. I'm going to ink it up using Melon Mambo, and I'm going to stamp it down on this scrap piece of basic white cardstock. Stamp it in the middle, sort of in the middle, so that doesn't have to be perfect, because I am going to die cut it out using one of my circle dies. And I am going to then die cut one of the scallop circles to be a layer underneath. So I'll go ahead and do that. I'll come back and then we'll continue on with the card. The next thing I want to do is adhere these two together, and then I'm going to set them aside and we're going to work on a layer for the card that will feature this special technique. Next, I'm going to work on creating a layer for my card front. And what I want to do for this layer is not leave it as a basic white plain layer. I want to mirror the colors that are in this scrap piece of designer series paper. Now, there are more than 3 colors in this paper, but I've chosen 3 of them that I'm going to add to this layer. I have got Daffodil Delight, I've got Mango Melody, and I've got Melon Mambo. And I have 3 of my blending brushes. So what I'm going to do is brush on these 3 colors. I'm going to start with the lightest at the top, then do the Mango Melody, so it would be Daffodil Delight, Mango Melody, and Melon Mambo, and that will sort of mirror this designer series paper. So I'm going to pick up some of the Daffodil Delight, and I'm just going to brush it on near the top. You can go as dark or as light as you want. It's your choice because it's your card. Next, I'm going to do the Mango Melody and add that next on my card layer. And finally, I'm going to add the Melon Mambo. Again, you can go as light or as dark as you want. There we go. I have this beautiful layer that I'm going to use on my card. But I'm going to set it aside for now, and I'm going to bring back in this scrap piece of designer series paper, and we are going to use this paper to create some beautiful corresponding elements for the card. So I have my Versamark ink, and I have this flower image from the Happiness Abounds stamp set. And what I want to do is use my Versamark, and I want to figure out where I want to stamp my flowers so that they will correspond with the layer that I just created with my blending brushes. So this is a perfect way to use up scrap designer series paper. Next, I have my white embossing powder in a little container, and I am just going to scoop it in my spoon, and I'm going to sprinkle the embossing powder over top of the stamped image on this designer series paper, and then I'm going to tap it off like so. There we go. I hope you can see the embossing powder. I think you can on here. So the next thing I want to do is bring in my heat tool, and I have a plug that's over on the wall, which is not close to where I am right now. So I'll stop the video and I'm going to go and heat emboss these flowers. I'll come back and show you what they look like, and then we're going to use the matching dies to die cut out these flowers. Back in a second. There we go. I have the white embossing powder all melted on this image. Now what I'm going to do is go over to my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and I'm going to take this die, which matches perfectly with the image that we have stamped and embossed, and I'm going to die cut out these 3 flowers to use as embellishments on the front of our card. There we go. There are the 3 flowers ready to use on the front of my card that, again, we created out of designer series paper. So try this fun technique at home with your scraps of leftover designer series paper. Have a look at the stamps that you have and see which ones that you can coordinate with your white embossing powder to create some fun embellishments. So let's go ahead and finish this card. I decided that my card base is going to be Daffodil Delight, and it's going to be a portrait layout. And then I'm going to adhere this layer that we created with our blending brushes. Now, as I said in my intro, I love sharing techniques with you. So if you would like to see another blending brush technique, you might want to watch this video next. I'm going to adhere this layer to my card base using my Stampin' Seal. And adhere that down. Then next, I am going to take the phrase that was created and add that to the middle of the card. And then I've got my 3 flower embellishments, and what I want to do is attach these to the card using some Stampin' Dimensionals. Kind of like this layout idea, so I'm going to go with it. I think sometimes we can overthink layouts and ideas, and so I think at some point we just have to make a decision and fly. Okay, here's the next one, and then the final one. And then it's time to think about other embellishments that can be added to the card. And there we go, the card is coming along beautifully. And I decided for my embellishments, I'm going to use my Glossy Dots Assortment. And I'm going to use these yellow glossy dots. And I think I'm going to use sort of the medium-sized ones. And I like to do uneven numbers. I think I'll put it down there like that. And there we go. We've got a beautiful card idea that was so easy to create thanks to my blending brushes and my white embossing powder and scrap pieces of designer series paper. If you would like a complete listing of the supplies that I used and the measurements for all of the layers, plus the ordering numbers for the Hues of Happiness product suite, I will leave a link in the description box under this video. You can link over to my blog post and get all the information there. I'll also leave a link in the description box under this video to my online stores in case you would like to make a purchase from me. I'm Terri. I'm nuts about stamping. I hope you'll try this great way to feature your scrap pieces of designer series paper. Bye for now.